Did you know the pyramids of Giza were originally brightly colored? When we think of the Egyptian pyramids, we imagine grand but plain stone structures. However, in ancient times, they looked completely different. The pyramids were once covered in smooth white limestone, which made them shine in the sunlight, giving them a dazzling appearance. Additionally, the top of the pyramids, called pyramidions, were often made of gold or coated with gold, creating a sparkling peak. Imagine how bright and magnificent these structures must have looked in the desert several thousand years ago. Over time, the outer layers of the pyramids deteriorated, leaving only the stone cores we see today. Can you imagine that 1 billion seconds equals 32 years? If you calculate, 1 billion seconds equals approximately 31 years, 8 months, and 8 days. It's an example of how easy it is to get lost in the measurement of time when it is expressed in such large numbers. For comparison, in that period, a child could grow up, become an adult, and graduate from university. Time moves quietly, and realizing that 1 billion seconds covers such a long span of life makes you think about its value and fleeting nature. Can you pronounce a word with 189,000 letters? The longest word in the English language is the chemical name of the protein titin, and it consists of a staggering 189,000 letters. Pronouncing it could take several hours. Of course, such a word isn't used in everyday life, but it exists as a linguistic marvel of science. This fact shows just how complex and amazing language can be when it comes to science and chemistry. Organic food. Truth or myth about its benefits? Research shows that there is no significant difference between organic and conventional foods in terms of nutritional value. While many believe that organic products are healthier and taste better, science doesn't support major distinctions. Some studies have also found no notable differences in taste. However, people often choose organic foods for lower pesticide levels and more eco-friendly farming practices. When choosing between organic and conventional, it's up to each person to decide what matters most: taste or caring for the planet. Believe it or not, the longest earthquake lasted 10 minutes. In 1960, Chile experienced the longest earthquake ever recorded, lasting an astonishing 10 minutes. This seismic event, caused by massive geological forces, triggered devastating tsunamis that even reached the shores of Japan. The earthquake left behind not only physical damage, but also a deep impact on our understanding of tectonic activity and its influence on Earth's surface. It demonstrated the incredible power of the planet and the constant movement of its layers, reminding us that Earth is never truly still. Elephants can mourn and grieve their lost ones. When a member of their herd dies, elephants display deep empathy and support. The others gather around the body, gently touching it with their trunks, as if saying goodbye. Some even cover the body with branches or leaves and later return to the spot, as if visiting a grave. This behavior shows just how connected elephants are and how deeply they can experience emotions. It's a reminder that understanding loss and respecting the departed is not just a human trait. Turns out there are bridges that speak. In some places, such as the Millennium Bridge in London, special plates emit sounds when people walk on them. These sounds are designed to resemble whispers or voices, creating a unique atmosphere. Especially at night, such a bridge becomes a real attraction, drawing tourists with its mystical sounds. Did you know giraffes barely sleep? Giraffes are masters of the power nap. These towering creatures need only about 1 hour and 9 minutes of sleep a day. And even then, they break their sleep into short bursts, perfecting the art of napping. This remarkable adaptation shows how nature can surprise us with its creativity. Imagine how productive humans could be if we only needed 2 hours of sleep per day. How does Germany successfully run a crocodile farm? At the crocodile farm in Saarland Zoo, more than 100 crocodiles live comfortably, even in Germany's harsh climate. This zoo is equipped with water heating systems that create ideal conditions for these exotic reptiles. Despite the cold winters, the crocodiles act as if they're in the tropics. Tourists can even watch them lazily swim or feed, making this one of the region's main attractions. Do you suffer from kenophobia, fear of empty spaces? Kenophobia is a rare and unusual fear of empty spaces. People who have this fear feel uncomfortable in overly open places, where there is no furniture or objects creating a sense of fullness. Imagine playing hide and seek with someone who has kenophobia. The thought of finding a place to hide in a large, empty room could become a real nightmare. This phobia highlights just how different our perceptions of the world around us can be. Penguins propose with pebbles. Adelie penguin males don't just seek a mate. They stage a true romantic ritual in the icy vastness of Antarctica. When it's time to win over a female, the male carefully selects the smoothest and most beautiful pebble he can find and presents it to his chosen one as a symbol of his affection. If she accepts this gift, she's ready to pair up with him. This charming gesture has become a symbol of courtship among penguins, adding a touch of warmth to the frozen Antarctic landscape. Imagine if we replaced engagement rings with pebbles. Did you know Mandarin is the most spoken language in the world? Mandarin Chinese is not only one of the oldest languages on the planet, but also the most spoken, with over 918 million speakers. That's about 12% of the global population. Mandarin is the official language of China, Taiwan, and one of the official languages of Singapore. Interestingly, Mandarin is a tonal language, which means that the same word can have different meanings depending on the tone used. Imagine this: the word ma can mean mother, horse, scold, or hemp, depending on how you say it. This makes Mandarin one of the most challenging yet fascinating languages to learn. Did you know that only 1/10 of an iceberg's mass is visible? When we see an iceberg, it may seem like just a big block of ice. However, 90% of its volume is hidden underwater. This happens because the density of ice is lower than that of seawater, causing most of the iceberg to remain beneath the surface. That's why icebergs are so dangerous for ships. Their true size is much larger than what is visible above the water. What if I told you that space smells like burnt meat? It's strange, but astronauts who have returned from space report that the space environment has a distinct smell resembling burnt meat or metal after welding. This is due to complex chemical reactions occurring at the molecular level in the vacuum. While space itself doesn't carry smells, the scent becomes noticeable when astronauts return to their spacecraft. Believe it or not, octopuses have 3 hearts and 9 brains. Octopuses aren't just extraordinarily smart, they are also built in incredibly unique ways. They have 3 hearts that pump blue blood and 9 brains, 1 central brain and 8 mini brains in each tentacle. These mini brains allow each tentacle to move independently, almost as if they have their own will. Octopuses are so unique that scientists consider them one of the most mysterious creatures on Earth. Imagine for a moment, frogs can freeze, but not die. Have you ever wondered how nature copes with winter's cold? Some species of frogs have found an incredible way to survive the winter. They literally freeze but don't die. Their bodies produce a special antifreeze that prevents ice from damaging their cells. As soon as the temperature rises, these frogs simply thaw out and go on living as if nothing happened. This amazing mechanism is yet another testament to nature's incredible adaptation to harsh conditions. What if I told you the largest family in the world has more than 180 members? In India, the world's largest family, led by Ziona Chana, consists of 39 wives, 94 children, 14 daughters-in-law, and 33 grandchildren. They all live together in a 4-story house with 100 rooms and a shared kitchen. This family belongs to a Christian sect that allows polygamy, and despite their large size, they live harmoniously under one roof. This incredible family is truly a dynasty that amazes and inspires people around the world. Amazingly, octopuses have 3 hearts. Octopuses are fascinating creatures with 3 hearts. One pumps blood to the body, and the other 2 pump blood through the gills. Moreover, their blood is blue because it contains copper instead of iron. This makes octopuses not only mysterious, but also some of the most unique creatures on Earth. It's hard to imagine that nature could create such amazing beings with such a unique system. Did you know that the world's longest hair measures over 18 feet? A Chinese woman named Zi Cuping holds the Guinness World Record for the longest hair, which measures a staggering 5.62 meters. That's about 18 feet and 5 inches. She began growing her hair at the age of 13 in 1973 and hasn't cut it since. Taking care of such long hair is no easy task. She spends hours every week washing it and at least 2 hours just combing it. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make moving easier. This record has remained unbeatable for decades. Italy, the country of UNESCO treasures. Italy holds the top spot in the world for the number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, an impressive 58 locations. These include famous landmarks like the Roman Colosseum and the stunning Amalfi Coast, but there are also hidden gems like the Dolomite Mountains that will take your breath away. Italy is a paradise for history lovers, art enthusiasts, and those seeking spectacular landscapes. Every corner of this country is steeped in culture and heritage, making it a must-visit destination for travelers and culture buffs alike. Can you believe Scotland's national animal is a unicorn? Yes, it's true. Scotland has chosen the unicorn, a mythical creature, as its national animal. This magical beast, symbolizing purity and strength, has held a special place in Scottish culture and symbolism for centuries. The unicorn became a national symbol in the Middle Ages and still adorns coats of arms and flags today. As a national emblem, the unicorn represents Scotland's proud, independent, and slightly mystical spirit. Johnny Appleseed, the man who planted apples not for food. Many of us have heard the legend of Johnny Appleseed, whose real name was John Chapman. This famous gardener didn't just plant apple trees across America. His goal was much more interesting. He planted trees not for the apples to be eaten, but to produce cider. In the early 19th century, apples were mainly used to make this alcoholic drink, and Johnny Appleseed became a hero among cider lovers. Knowing this story, each glass of apple cider will feel a bit more historical. Did you know your keyboard is dirtier than a toilet seat? It sounds awful, but your keyboard can be a real breeding ground for germs. Studies have shown that keyboards often contain more bacteria than toilet seats. Dust, food crumbs, and microbes accumulate on the keys over time. That's why regularly cleaning your keyboard isn't just a good habit. It's an important hygiene measure. A keyboard cleaner and wet wipes are your best friends in the battle against germs. It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes, bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories. And even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations. Is it possible? The most venomous snake in the world lives in Australia. The inland taipan, also known as the fierce snake, is the most venomous creature on the planet. The venom from one bite is powerful enough to kill over 100 people. Despite its fearsome reputation, the inland taipan is a very shy and elusive snake, preferring to avoid contact with humans. It can be found only in remote parts of Australia, where it hunts small mammals using its incredible speed and deadly precision. Isn't it fascinating that our brain stays alert when we sleep in a new place? Have you ever noticed that you sleep less soundly the first night in a new place, like a hotel or a friend's house? This is due to a phenomenon known as the first night effect. It turns out that part of our brain remains on guard when we sleep in an unfamiliar environment, helping to protect us from potential threats. Studies show that the left hemisphere of the brain remains more active than the right, allowing us to react more quickly to external stimuli. This ancient survival mechanism helps our bodies adapt to new surroundings. But don't worry, over time the brain adjusts to the new place, and the first night effect fades, allowing you to sleep more peacefully. Did you know you might have been answering the phone with Ahoy? In the early days of the telephone, when Alexander Graham Bell introduced his invention, he suggested using Ahoy as a greeting when answering calls. Inspired by nautical language, Bell thought it would be a perfect fit for the new way of communicating. Imagine if his idea caught on. We would all be saying Ahoy every time we picked up the phone. However, Thomas Edison suggested the word hello, and it became the standard, leaving Ahoy as a quirky piece of history. Goosebumps, an evolutionary artifact from our ancestors. Have you ever wondered why we get goosebumps? This phenomenon is linked to our ancient ancestors. Long ago, when humans and animals had more body hair, this reaction helped them appear larger and more intimidating to predators, while also retaining heat in cold weather. When tiny muscles at the base of hair follicles contract, the hair stands up, creating a fluffy effect. Today, goosebumps are a leftover from our evolutionary past, but they no longer serve the important function they once did. Nowadays, goosebumps are more often triggered by cold or strong emotions. So, next time you feel goosebumps, remember that they are a part of your ancient defense system. Earth and the Moon, a dance of gravity. Fun fact, Earth is 81 times heavier than the Moon. Despite this difference in mass, both celestial bodies significantly influence each other through gravitational forces. Earth's gravity causes tides on the Moon, while the Moon's pull slows down Earth's rotation. This interaction plays a crucial role in the dynamics of our planet and its satellite. Next time you look up at the Moon, remember the cosmic dance happening between Earth and its faithful companion. Did you know that Big Ben is not a clock? Actually, Big Ben is not the name of the clock or the tower, but the bell inside the clock tower. Its full name is the Great Bell of Westminster, but people simply call it Big Ben. It chimes every hour, creating a melody heard by Londoners and visitors alike. It's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world. And now you know the real story behind the name. Can you imagine that it rains diamonds on Neptune? It sounds like science fiction, but scientists are convinced that Neptune experiences diamond rain. Due to the immense pressure and extreme temperatures, methane in Neptune's atmosphere transforms into diamonds that literally fall from the sky. Imagine a world where precious jewels are as common as raindrops, a luxurious storm that any jeweler would dream of witnessing. Why is a group of owls called a parliament? Owls are often associated with wisdom, and perhaps that's why their collective noun is a parliament. This term is linked to ancient Greek and Roman myths where owls symbolized knowledge and magic. The term gained popularity in English literature thanks to Chaucer's writings. Owls often gather as if they're deliberating, which resembles parliamentary meetings. These remarkable birds have keen vision and hearing, allowing them to hunt in the dark. So next time you see a group of owls, imagine them discussing the forest's most pressing matters at their owl assembly. The elephant trunk trick. 40,000 muscles in one nose. Yes, you read that right. An elephant's trunk contains about 40,000 muscles. That's more than the entire human body. And this is why an elephant's trunk is so incredibly versatile. With it, elephants can lift heavy branches, gently pick berries, drink water, make sounds, and even caress their young. But did you know that young elephants often suck on their trunks, just like children suck their thumbs? It helps them feel calm and secure, a true wonder of nature, such a complex and multifunctional organ like the elephant's trunk. Believe it or not, your brain generates about 70,000 thoughts a day. Imagine your brain as a factory of ideas, working nonstop. Every day, it generates around 70,000 thoughts. That means a new idea, memory, or decision is born in your head every few seconds. This incredible ability allows us to multitask and quickly adapt, processing thousands of decisions automatically. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by thoughts, remember, your brain's powerful thinking factory is in full operation. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. Hard to believe, but it takes 8 minutes for sunlight to reach Earth. The sunlight we see every day actually began its journey from the sun 8 minutes ago. This is because the speed of light is about 300,000 kilometers per second, and the distance from the sun to Earth is approximately 150 million kilometers. So every time you look at the sun, you're seeing its past. This fascinating time delay is one of the most interesting phenomena of cosmic physics. Hard to believe, but there's no letter A in numbers from 1 to 1,000. It's true. If you start counting from 1 to 999, you won't find the letter A in any of the numbers. The letter A only appears in the word 1,000. This fun observation shows just how unique the English language is and how unexpected patterns can be hidden within it. Sometimes, these small details make us look at familiar things in a new way. Did you know that platypuses are venomous? This cute and mysterious animal from Australia has a real weapon hidden in its legs. Male platypuses have venomous spurs on their hind legs, which they use to inject toxins into their enemies or competitors during mating battles. While the venom is not deadly to humans, it can cause excruciating pain that lasts for months. Who would have thought that these seemingly harmless animals could be so dangerous? How did the term honeymoon originate, and what does it have to do with honey? The term honeymoon traces back to ancient Babylonian culture. It turns out that after a wedding, the bride's father would provide the newlyweds with a month's supply of honey and mead, a fermented honey drink. This ritual was believed to ensure happiness and fertility in the early days of marriage. Because of this tradition, the first month of marriage became known as the honeymoon, and this idea has endured through the ages, becoming a symbol of romantic getaways for newlyweds. The secret to flight: 4 forces that keep a plane in the air. A plane's flight isn't just about its wings. In reality, there are 4 forces at work: lift, thrust, drag, and gravity. Lift keeps the plane in the air thanks to the wings. Thrust propels the plane forward through its engines. Drag resists the plane's motion, and gravity pulls it down. These forces work together to maintain stable flight, like a well-choreographed dance where each force has its role. Understanding these forces can make the marvel of flight even more fascinating. 6 legs but no steps. The mystery of dragonflies. Dragonflies, like most insects, have 6 legs, but here's the twist. They can't walk. Doesn't that sound illogical? Instead of using their legs to get around on the ground, dragonflies use them for entirely different purposes. Their legs are perfectly adapted for grabbing prey in midair. Dragonflies use their legs like a little net to catch insects while flying. This adaptation makes them true masters of aerial hunting, able to catch prey mid-flight and then settle comfortably on a branch to enjoy their meal. For them, life is all about the thrill of the chase. Can you believe the world's smallest monkey weighs only 100 grams? The pygmy marmoset, native to the Amazon rainforest, is the world's tiniest monkey. Measuring only 15 centimeters in length and weighing just 100 grams, these miniature primates have big eyes, a long tail, and live in family groups of up to 9 members. They survive by feeding on tree sap, insects, and fruit. Despite their small size, these tiny monkeys are full of life and energy. Believe it or not, polar bears have black skin under their white fur. A polar bear's fur may look white, but underneath, its skin is actually black. This isn't just a natural curiosity, it's an important adaptation that helps polar bears absorb more heat from the sun and stay warm in the icy Arctic climate. It's like wearing a natural solar-powered suit that helps them survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Did you know there are more plastic flamingos than real ones in the world? This is no joke. The plastic flamingos that often adorn lawns and yards have become so popular that there are now more of them than living flamingos in the wild. This surprising fact about pop culture shows how even seemingly random decorative elements can take over the world. The plastic flamingo has become a symbol of American lawn design and has gained massive popularity. Who would have thought that toy birds could outnumber their living counterparts? Is it true that hippos sweat red? When hippos spend a lot of time in the sun, their skin starts to secrete a special red fluid that looks like blood. This sweat acts as both a sunscreen and an antiseptic, protecting them from sunburn and infection. It's often called blood sweat, though it contains no blood at all. This incredible secretion helps hippos withstand the intense African sun, spending most of their days in water and only occasionally coming out onto land. Did you know that the resolution of the human eye surpasses any camera? Our eyes can distinguish up to 10 million shades of color with such incredible clarity that no modern camera can compare. Imagine this. The human eye has a resolution of 576 megapixels. This is far beyond even the best photographic technologies available today. We all love high-resolution screens, but we often forget that our own eyes already provide us with the perfect visual experience. And the best part? It's completely free. Did you know that a dollar can be changed in 293 ways? When it comes to breaking a dollar, the combinations can be quite diverse. By using various coins like pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins, you can make a dollar in 293 different ways. This fact showcases just how intricate and varied the coin system can be and gives a whole new perspective on the humble dollar. Why are towers in the desert built so tall? In the UAE and other desert regions, modern skyscrapers are not just built high for beauty, but to minimize the impact of heat. At great heights, temperatures are cooler, which helps save on cooling costs. Additionally, tall buildings provide maximum shade to surrounding areas. This unique design solution allows desert cities to counteract extreme climates, creating an oasis of coolness right in the middle of the desert. Lakes underwater? Yes, they exist. It's hard to believe, but there are lakes under the water. They are called brine pools, or underwater lakes, and they can be found on the ocean floor. How is this possible? It's all about the high salt concentration in these lakes, which makes the water inside them much denser than the surrounding seawater. These salty pools can look like real lakes, separated from the surrounding water, and sometimes unique life forms can be found in them, adapted to these extreme conditions. This is one of the amazing phenomena of our planet, which looks like something straight out of science fiction. It's amazing, but the platypus is one of the strangest creatures on Earth. This incredible Australian animal, which looks like a mix of different creatures, has baffled scientists for centuries. The platypus lays eggs, produces milk for its young, and has venomous spurs on its hind legs. This combination of traits makes it one of the most unique mammals on the planet. Despite its odd characteristics, the platypus has lived on Earth for millions of years and remains a symbol of nature's mysteries and evolution. How about the longest word with just one vowel? Did you know that the word strengths is the longest word in the English language with only one vowel? It's fascinating, as this word is not only powerful in meaning, but also unique in its structure. It proves that even the simplest words can be incredibly complex when looked at from a different perspective. Next time you use this word, pay attention to its uniqueness. It's a small linguistic puzzle. Did you know ice can take more than one familiar form? We usually think of ice as frozen water, but did you know there are over 17 different types of ice? The most common type we encounter daily is known as ice. However, depending on pressure and temperature, water can form other crystalline structures, each with unique properties. For example, under high pressure, water can turn into hexagonal or even cubic ice. These forms of ice occur in nature under rare conditions, such as deep ocean trenches or on icy moons. This shows how incredibly versatile and complex water molecules are, adapting to various environments. Can you believe that Canada has more lakes than the rest of the world combined? Yes, it's true. Canada alone has more lakes than all other countries in the world combined. About 60% of all freshwater lakes on the planet are located in this country. From small, crystal-clear ponds to giant lakes like Lake Superior, Canada is famous for its water resources. The variety of lakes makes Canada an ideal destination for nature lovers, water sports enthusiasts, and fishermen. Impressive, isn't it? If you're planning a trip, don't forget to include a visit to one of these unique natural wonders. Did you know that the King of Sweden has almost no power? Contrary to popular belief, the King of Sweden is not an active political leader. His role is purely symbolic, performing mainly ceremonial duties. Sweden is a constitutional monarchy, where political power lies with the parliament and the prime minister. Nevertheless, the king continues to play an important role in the cultural and social life of the country, representing Sweden on the international stage and attending state events. Interestingly, the Swedish royal family is considered one of the most popular and respected in the world, despite having minimal political influence. Elephants fear bees, and that saves farms. Elephants are giants of the savannah, but there's something tiny that makes them run away: bees. African farmers discovered that elephants are terrified of these buzzing insects. Using this fear, they started setting up beehives along the borders of their fields. These beehive fences create a natural bee barrier, and elephants, hearing the buzzing, avoid these areas to avoid painful stings. This ingenious solution helps farmers protect their crops from being trampled, maintaining a peaceful coexistence with these majestic animals without resorting to violence. Nature truly is the best ally. Did you know chickens are descendants of tyrannosaurs? The next time you see a chicken, think about this. You're looking at a distant descendant of the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex. Scientific research has shown that chickens and some other modern birds share more traits with these prehistoric predators than any other living animal. This genetic link between chickens and dinosaurs may seem strange, but it's yet another fascinating example of how evolution shapes species. Who would have thought that the mighty T-Rex would one day evolve into a humble chicken? You'll never look at chickens the same way again. Did you know that a duck's quack actually has an echo? Despite the popular myth that a duck's quack doesn't echo, that's not true. It's not that ducks lack an echo. It's that our ears sometimes fail to catch it. The physics of sound works the same as for other sounds, but due to the frequency of the quack and how it spreads, it may seem quieter or barely noticeable. Next time you're near a duck, listen closely. You might catch its quack echo, sounding like it's in stereo. It's nature's version of a whispering gallery, but with ducks. An endless chocolate bar? Illusion or reality? The illusion of an endless chocolate bar is a geometric trick that creates the impression that a bar of chocolate can regenerate itself infinitely. It's an ingenious visual illusion that tricks our minds into believing in mathematical magic. Unfortunately, this trick doesn't work with real chocolate bars, but wouldn't it be a dream come true if it did? The story of ink saving. How a period saved a newspaper. Thousands of dollars. How important do you think a tiny change in logo design could be? In 1967, the New York Times decided to remove the period at the end of its name. This decision wasn't driven by aesthetics, but by savings. The newspaper calculated that dropping the period could save them a significant amount of ink, around $600 a year, which today equals approximately $6,000. While such an amount may seem insignificant at first, for For publishers, it became an example of how even the smallest changes can lead to substantial resource savings. Imagine how one small decision could impact the budget of an entire company. Have you ever wondered where the word okay came from? Can you imagine that one of the most popular words in the world came from a simple joke? In 1839, in Boston, the phrase all correct was intentionally misspelled as all correct in a humorous newspaper article. This abbreviation, shortened to OK, quickly became common in everyday language. Since then, OK has become universal, understood in almost every corner of the world. It signifies agreement, affirmation, or just a friendly gesture. From humble beginnings to global spread, OK proves that even a joke can become a linguistic phenomenon. Now, when you use this word, you can remember its amusing origins. You probably didn't know that the International Space Station is the most expensive object ever built. The cost of building and operating the ISS is approximately $150 billion. For comparison, that's almost 50 times the cost of the Eiffel Tower. All this money was spent to create a one-of-a-kind scientific laboratory complex orbiting the Earth. Is the 10,000 steps a day just a myth? We often hear that walking 10,000 steps a day is essential for good health. But did you know that this number isn't scientifically backed? The figure originated in the 1960s as part of a marketing campaign for a Japanese pedometer, whose name translates as 10,000 steps. It was simply a catchy slogan that stuck in the culture, but in reality, there is no specific scientific data that confirms that exactly 10,000 steps is the magic number. The number of steps needed to stay healthy can vary from person to person. The first computer mouse was made of wood. In 1964, Douglas Engelbart invented the first computer mouse, and it was made of wood. This device, with two metal wheels, revolutionized how humans interact with computers. Today, modern mice are much more advanced, but that wooden mouse remains a landmark in computer history. Black panthers, a sleek coat, not a species. The term Black Panther doesn't refer to a separate species of animals. It's actually a name for leopards or jaguars with a rare coloration, melanism. Melanism is an excess of dark pigment that makes their fur appear nearly black, creating a sleek and mysterious look. For example, about 11% of all leopards have this striking coloration, turning them into real shadows of the jungle. This genetic phenomenon not only helps the panther blend into the dark forest, but also gives it a legendary status among big cats. Is it true that most dust is dead skin? Imagine that every day you shed millions of skin cells that turn into dust in your home. Dead skin cells make up a significant portion of household dust, along with clothing fibers, hair, and pollen. On average, a person loses about 200 million skin cells every hour. Of course, this doesn't sound very pleasant, but nature has designed your skin to constantly renew itself. In fact, one of the oils on your skin, squalene, helps reduce the harmful effects of ozone in the air, making your skin's microbiome a true protector of your environment. So, the next time you're wiping down dust, remember, you're essentially cleaning away your yesterday cells that have already served their purpose. Amazing how the body continually renews itself and maintains balance with the environment. The inventor of pop-up ads regrets it. The story of the most annoying internet invention. In the 90s, pop-up ads seemed like a great idea. Ethan Zuckerman created them to separate advertising content from the main one, but they quickly became an annoying part of the internet. Years later, Zuckerman publicly apologized for his invention, admitting that it caused more harm than good. This is an example of how technologies created with good intentions can turn into real problems. Did you know that in Iceland, there is a beach that constantly changes shape? On Iceland's southern coast, there is a black sand beach that constantly changes its shape depending on weather conditions and tides. Each year, locals and tourists notice that the beach's outlines shift significantly. New dunes appear in some places, while the sand disappears entirely in others. This phenomenon is caused by strong winds and underwater currents that transport the sand along the coastline. The beach is considered one of Iceland's most mysterious natural sights. What's the longest time between the birth of twins? The longest recorded gap between the birth of twins is 87 days. This astonishing record was set when one twin was born prematurely, and the other stayed in the womb for almost 3 more months. Imagine that. One twin born at the end of one year and the other in the following year. This unusual story adds a remarkable milestone to the family's life, creating a unique timeline between the births of these twins. Did you know why watches and ads show 10 past 10? Most watch ads show the hand set at 10 minutes past 10. This is no accident. This position creates a visually pleasing appearance that resembles a smiling face. Additionally, this way the hands do not obscure the company's logo, which is typically placed at the 12 o'clock position. This layout also highlights balance and symmetry, making advertising photos even more appealing. Imagine a hybrid of a cow and a bison. It's a beefalo. Yes, there exists a unique hybrid of a cow and a bison called a beefalo. These animals combine the traits of both cows and bison, and they are known for their impressive hardiness. Beefalos can be found in certain regions of the United States, where they have become agricultural stars. They are bred as a more resilient alternative to traditional livestock, being better suited to harsh conditions. Imagine, you're on a stroll and come across this amazing creature that looks like a mix of the majesty of a wild bison and the domesticity of a cow. A true wonder of nature, brought to life by genetic experimentation. 857 hours of film, the longest movie in the world. The Swedish experimental film, Logistics, is officially the longest film in the world. Its duration is 857 hours. That's 35 days and 17 hours. The film was shot in real time and depicts the fascinating, though quite monotonous, journey of a pedometer, a device for measuring distance, from a factory in China to a buyer in Sweden. If you want to watch the entire film, you'll need almost a month and a half of continuous viewing. Who would have thought that logistics could be so long? Why do chickens peck at their food? When a chicken finds food and pecks it on the ground, it's not just a random habit. This process is called beak pounding and helps chickens break down food into smaller, easier to manage pieces. A chicken's powerful beak acts like a tool to crack seeds and other tough bits of food. This behavior is common among many birds, but chickens do it with particular zeal, allowing them to get more nutrients and energy from their meals. Next time you see a chicken pecking, remember, it's using its own little kitchen tools. How about this? There are road maps for astronauts on the moon. During the Apollo missions, special markings were made on the moon's surface to help astronauts navigate. These markers included lines and even arrows pointing in specific directions. In an environment where horizontal landmarks are not obvious and visibility is limited, these markers were crucial. Although the moon seems empty, these hidden details help future missions avoid getting lost and allow better exploration of Earth's satellite. Can you imagine the world's longest bridge stretches over 160 kilometers? The Danyang-Kunshan Grand Bridge in China holds the title of the world's longest bridge, stretching over 164 kilometers. This engineering marvel is part of the Beijing-Shanghai high-speed railway. Spanning lakes, fields, and valleys, the bridge not only astounds with its length, but also offers travelers breathtaking views as they speed across at up to 300 kilometers per hour. Earth's gravity, why isn't it the same everywhere? Have you ever wondered why gravity varies slightly in different places on Earth? It turns out this is due to many factors such as altitude, the density of Earth's crust, and the distance from the equator. Gravity is stronger at the poles and in places with denser crust, like mountain ranges, because these areas are closer to the Earth's center. Conversely, gravity is weaker at high altitudes, such as on top of Mount Everest and near the equator. These variations are caused by the distribution of mass on the planet and the fact that Earth is slightly flattened at the poles. This highlights the complexity and uniqueness of our gravitational field. Now you know, in some places on Earth, you weigh a little more or less than in others. Hard to believe, but in Madagascar, there is a tree that walks. The baobab tree in Madagascar is known for its roots that can move several meters in search of water. While the tree itself does not move, its root system grows towards sources of moisture, crossing large patches of land. This unique ability allows baobabs to survive in drought conditions and become even more resilient. This species of plants has long intrigued biologists, who are still trying to unravel all the secrets of how these ancient giants survive. It's fascinating that buildings can be cooled without electricity. There are technologies that allow buildings to stay cool using special insulation and solar reflectors. So-called green roofs are covered with vegetation, creating natural shade and preventing overheating. Additionally, reflective materials are used to bounce sunlight and lower indoor temperatures. In this way, on hot summer days, these buildings remain cool without air conditioners or electricity. Who would have thought that giraffe spots are like fingerprints? Giraffes are not only majestic creatures, but they also have a unique feature. Each giraffe's spot pattern is as individual as a human fingerprint. No two giraffes have the same spot configuration, which makes them truly one of a kind. These spots serve more than just an aesthetic function. They help regulate body temperature in the hot savanna and assist in social recognition within their groups. So, next time you see a giraffe, remember that its spots are as unique as your fingerprint. It's interesting that elephants have toes on their feet. Beneath the massive feet of elephants lies something surprising: 5 toes, with thick pads that help evenly distribute the giant's weight. This allows elephants to move almost silently, despite their enormous size. Furthermore, these toes help them walk on various terrains, from desert sands to dense jungles, without getting stuck or injuring their feet. This foot structure makes their movement light and graceful, with each step feeling the surface beneath them. Why can rivers in Iceland change their direction? Iceland is a country known for its unusual natural phenomena, and rivers here can unexpectedly change their direction. This happens due to volcanic activity under glaciers. When magma heats the ice, massive amounts of meltwater form underground rivers that change course depending on the pressure and movement of the ice. As a result, a river can flow in the opposite direction within just a few days, leaving residents and tourists puzzled. The accident that changed the world. The invention of the popsicle. Have you ever wondered how the popsicle was invented? It was pure accident. In 1905, an 11-year-old boy named Frank Epperson left a mixture of soda water and a stick outside overnight. The next morning, the mixture had frozen, and thus the first popsicle on a stick was accidentally invented. Years later, when Frank grew up, he began selling his frozen treat, which quickly became a hit. His children suggested naming it a popsicle, and the name stuck. That's how a simple mistake became a beloved dessert for millions around the world.